Hey, do you sometimes worry that eating out is going to totally wreck your fat loss goals, but you also know that it's just not realistic long term to avoid restaurants altogether? See, eating out might just feel like a trap when you're trying to lose fat and get back into shape. Of course, you've got social pressure, you've got mystery ingredients wherever you go, and what feels like pretty much zero control over portions because obviously you're not the one making the dang food. But you don't have to choose between your goals and a night out, thankfully. Being joyfully fit isn't actually about avoidance, but just actually doing it smarter and having smarter planning and implementation. Now, in this video, I'm actually going to be breaking down the 5 simple but effective strategies that I use with my private clients to eat out without wrecking progress. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. My name is Lance, and since 2005, I have helped hundreds upon hundreds of high-performing entrepreneurs, creators, and online professionals reset their metabolism, drop fat, build muscle, and take back their edge and energy without diets, without gym bro tactics, without extremes, okay? If you're a high-performing man who feels confident in what you do, but just not in how you look or how you feel, and you're really after a permanent health and fitness transformation that doesn't suck, let's go ahead and dive in. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you. Got some pretty cool stuff to show you today. All righty, hopefully you guys can see this all right. There we go. All right, so how do we eat out without derailing your fat loss goals? Well, you don't have to avoid restaurants. That's the good news. Step one is going to be researching before you go. I know that that sounds basic, but so many people forget how easy it is to simply call ahead, to get online, or again, if you see this image right here, I got this right off of Longhorn Steakhouse, their website. It's got allergens, nutritional facts, it's got everything that you need, full menu, so you can actually know what is best that fits into your calorie or your macro budget for fat loss or muscle building, whatever your goal might be. Now, if you missed how to calculate your calories or how to calculate your macros, definitely go back and check my videos from the last couple of days where I explain exactly how to do that to be in a safe deficit, whatever your goal might be, okay? So step one, you got to research before you go. Check the menu ahead of time. Do not wing it, all right? When you wing it, you will likely end up forgetting or losing sight of what your goal is, your underlying motivation is. And in that moment, it's going to feel more pressing for you. It's going to feel more desirable to eat exactly what you want, even if that does not align with what your goals are. But then later, when the emotions settle down, you end up feeling guilty and like, gosh, man, I guess I need more willpower. Yes and no. You don't really need more willpower to try and avoid things. You need more willpower to do the things that successful people do, not just in their business, but in their health and fitness. See, I posit that you are successful in what you do because there are certain key principles that you live by. And what I want to do is to help you bridge the gap between how you live successfully in your career, in other endeavors that you've been successful at, where you feel confident, and help you to bridge that gap in your health and fitness so you stop feeling the pressure to do the health and fitness thing like a temporary makeover, and you're starting to do your health and fitness routine the same way as what you do in business, treating it like a marathon. You've got to span, you've got to pace yourself, and that's what leads to enjoyment, effectiveness, and permanent results, okay? Now, my most successful clients even call ahead if they're going to a new place, all right? It only takes a few minutes and you can get the rundown of what's going on if you can't find something online. But most places like this, you can find it exactly online, all right? You do have to care enough about your results that you're willing to go the distance the same way that you do in your career, okay? That's why you're successful. The other thing you want to do, and most people don't consider this, is you've got to consider restaurants to make sure that you are choosing the best options for the goals that you've got. I realize that not everybody wants to rock the boat, and I realize, well, everybody just chose this place, and I didn't want to say X. I don't want to be that guy. I get it. But the reality is that later, whenever you don't have the energy, you don't have the confidence, you don't feel your best health, or you just stop going out altogether, that there is significantly worse than just simply asking, hey guys, I'd love to go out to dinner with you guys, but can we go to Chili's over this place because I already looked ahead and they've got, grilled chicken, or they've got a burger that isn't loaded up with 600 grams, of sauces and powders and creams that are going to jack up my calories. Okay. People 9 times out of 10 are going to be pretty okay with that, but just compare the restaurants to make sure that this is the best one. If you want a burger, great, but is this the best one? Same thing was like, I always make the joke about cheesecake. People have seen me out, eating a cheesecake or something like that and go like, oh, are you cheating? Nope, not at all. I planned for this. Keep in mind though, that you can go get a cheesecake, like a box cheesecake or a nice place up at the store, and it's going to be a 350 calorie cheesecake. Not small, but not horrible. And then you go to Cheesecake Factory and it's like, what, 27,000 calories. Now, realistically, it might be 1,500, 1,600, but it's not much more food, if at all. This is where you go, yeah, I want cheesecake, but not 2,000 calorie cheesecake. And you just make wise decisions, okay? Now, the other thing you want to do is look for protein-focused dishes, grilled versus fried and veggie-heavy options, okay? Again, decide what you're eating before you're hungry and distracted. Do not decide what you're eating once you're there and they've already started bringing out rolls and you're like, I could eat my arm. This is not the way to do it, okay? Decide before you go. Look up on the menu. And again, the cool thing is some restaurants show calories and macros there. Use that. But again, almost like 80 to 90% of restaurants nowadays are posting their menus online. They want to accommodate so that when people come in, they're not spending a bunch of time, they can get better turnover. So that's to your advantage, okay? So check what you're eating. Don't just assume that it's a good choice, or don't assume that it was the best you could do, all right? So again, that's the cool thing with these. You can download that online. Now, the next thing is kind of an extension of this. You've got to prioritize protein and be very mindful of all the freebies and apps, all right? The appetizers can add up quickly. So you want to build your meal around lean meats, fish, high protein, vegetarian options if you're vegetarian, okay? So when you do this, what we're suggesting here is you're not getting some sort of medley where it's just like, I don't know, it had some of this and some of that, like a lasagna, something that's like a lasagna or spaghetti. You don't know how much meat you're getting. You don't know how many carbs you're getting. Like, you cannot tell by portions how much of each thing you're getting. So for now, not forever, for now, you want to choose lean meats, fish, high protein, vegetarian options when you're going out. But don't worry, I'm going to give you a little bit more reprieve from the status quo, okay? But you need to know that this is going to help with satiety so you feel fuller. It's going to make sure that your blood sugar is not spiking, because when you pair proteins with your carbs, it is going to help the insulin process as well, and it's going to reduce your cravings so you don't just want more sugary crap. Okay, protein is your anchor. Sides and sauces are totally fine, but keep them separate. Ask them to bring them out separate. Don't let them glaze your stuff up. You have no idea how much is actually on there, and make sure that you pour them on yourself. Now, even in a pub, you can usually substitute grilled chicken or steak for any of the fried options. So it's not an excuse to just be like, well, that's all they had. Not so. Normally, even again, like I've been at some of the most fried food pubs and go, oh man, this fried stuff looks so awesome, it'll kill my stomach. Can I make that grilled? And they're like, yeah, man, you're totally good. They do it so easily, okay? So now, the other thing is sometimes people will be like, well, no, Lance, I'm going to a pizza place. That's where the family's dragging me, and I know I'm just going to ruin everything. How do I do this? You don't have to ruin everything. I want to teach you a technique that I've used for literally years at this point to help me to enjoy foods without worrying at all that I'm going over calories or that I've just blown all of my progress, all right? So it's really, really simple. It's drink a protein shake that you know is going to meet your protein targets for your meal. For me, I'm aiming for anywhere from 25 to 35, maybe 40 grams of protein per meal, depending on if I do 4 to 6 meals. Again, if you've watched my video on macros, you'll know how much protein to do, and you can divide that by 4, 5, 3, whatever meals frequency you do, okay? But by drinking a protein shake on the way into the restaurant, number one, like I mentioned, when you have protein and you have a carb with it, it's going to help mitigate some of the insulin so you're not having an insulin spike. Technically, it's helping the glucose so you don't have an insulin spike. but that's the point, is we're mitigating insulin spikes from doing this. It's also going to keep you feeling fuller before you get there, so you're not like, oh my gosh, give me rolls, give me this, give me all the things. So just a simple protein shake, and then it also just eliminates the need for worrying about protein once you get there. So if you go to a pizza place, the number one rule I'm going to tell you is drink a protein shake on the way. And this way here, instead of eating 6 or 7 slices of pizza, you might eat 3 to 4, okay? I used to eat like, an entire pizza by myself. And since I started doing this trick, I now will eat literally 3 to 4 slices, sometimes even only 2 to 3 if it's like big slices of pizza. It helps tremendously, and you still feel so satisfied and satiated, all right? Now, the other thing is either ask for only one bread basket or stick to one roll. Limit yourself to one piece. Do not, chances are, yes, you wanted some bread, but that's not why you're going to the restaurant. The bread is their low, it's high volume, but low cost foods to shove in you so that you don't care if it takes 30 minutes before the food comes, and so that you are fine if they have smaller portions, but they don't have smaller portions. I'll get to that in a second too. All right. If you don't have the room in your calorie or macro budget, which is totally normal, ask for none. I love bread when we go to Roadhouse, when we go to Longhorn, when we go to Italian restaurants. But if I've prepared for it, I'll tell them, hey, just bring us out a bread basket with just 3 slices or 4 slices, please, and no more after that. We're those crazy people that like to be healthy, and they kind of make a joke and like, yeah, I'll even make a joke like, I'll end up eating 16 baskets and we'll end up, totally, collapsing your business. So just bring us one, we're those people. Whatever you want to make the joke about, it's fine. They don't care. But the point is like just speaking up for just a moment is going to prevent you from eating everything in sight. Okay. All right. Now, the other thing is don't get an appetizer unless you have the room for it in your macros and your calories, okay? So if you're not splitting it with somebody and you know how many calories you're going to actually be taking in, and if you're really concerned with getting back into shape, for now, skip the appetizer, okay? So it's just not going to do you as much good, and you're going to end up feeling like trash. And guys, the serving sizes are ridiculously huge for restaurants these days in America as it is. So when you're already getting a big portion, which is likely going to take you over calories if you're not careful, adding an appetizer to the mix that's likely fried is not really going to be doing you any favors. But we don't have to avoid restaurants. We just have to be smarter at restaurants, okay? The other thing, find out the calories of your portions of the appetizer. If you do have an appetizer, don't guess. Don't just be like, well, I got to live a little bit. Yes, you do. But again, in your business, you wouldn't just be like, well, it was just $1,000. You'd be like, well, $1,000, is that going to mean that I can't pay payroll? Is it going to mean that I can't do X, Y, and Z? You're thinking about those things. We've got to bring that same logic into this as well. Not knowing calories in a food does not mean that they don't exist, guys. All right, so I'm going to show you some cool stuff here in a second, but we want to make sure that we manage your portion sizes like an absolute pro, though. All right, most restaurant meals are 1.5 to 2 times the size that you actually need for serving sizes, okay? So what I'm going to do is, number one, recommend that you use a food logging app like MyFitnessPal, or we have an app specifically within our program, Joyfully Fit 365, that allows our clients to know where they're at on what they've eaten. And it's very, very simple. You scan it, take a picture of your food, whatever. It's so easy, okay? So there's not really an excuse nowadays to not track your food, at least for the first 6 to 12 months of your journey until you get the process down. It's the same as having a profit and loss a ledger, or having, just any sort of balance sheet for your business, for your checking account, whatever it might be. It's the same premise. And as I've mentioned, you're going to hear me say this a lot, what gets measured gets improved, okay? But we cannot manage what doesn't get measured, all right? So if you want to manage your fitness, your health, we must begin to manage and measure the data points, the metrics that are important, the same as your business, the same as the data that you would track in your career, all right? So, but if you don't have a food logging app, or you're not used to that yet, you don't need to fret. It's really simple. You can use your hand as a visual guide, and check this out, all right? So you can see I kind of wrote a few of them here, but what I want you to do is to just go ahead and screenshot this graphic here, all right? So your lean proteins are going to be about the size of your palm, all right? So if you go into a restaurant, just know, like, if you're getting a steak that's double the size of your palm, you have likely, number one, because it's got some fats as well in it, you've likely overdone your portions, all right? Now, again, it doesn't mean like you can't get a little bit bigger than that, but that's kind of the aim for where you start. Dense carbs are going to be like rice, potatoes, starchy type foods that you're going to do a cupped handful, okay, as you see right on the screen. And the salad fats are going to be like butter. You should be doing a full thumb, no more. If you do, you're going over. And veggies are going to be a large handful. You can get away with a lot more of those. But again, take a look at what we're looking at here and notice the size. And then fruits are a cupped handful, okay? Little bit less than veggies because it's going to have more sugar, less fiber, which means more of an insulin spike potentially, okay? So if you're pre-diabetic and all of that, you don't need to avoid fruits, but we need to moderate how many, what's the size of the amount of fruits that we're having. And lastly is liquid fats, which are going to be like your oils and all of that. That's 2 thumb prints, okay? So thumbprint there, you put that, like you're going to be able to estimate, okay? Is this as good as tracking in a food log? No, not necessarily, but is it better than not tracking all? Abso-freaking-lutely, okay? So this works, screenshot that. I won't drone on more about that. Number 4, you've got to be mindful of all the hidden add-ons, okay? Liquid calories are huge. Soda, alcohol, sugary mixes, grenadine adding in, all of these things, they sneak in fast. And that's just the liquids before we've even touched food. Then we have sauces, dresses, cheeses that they drizzle over, and then sides that may be larger, smaller, sides that might have, seasonings and sauces on them that might be loaded with calories as well. It doesn't mean we have to avoid them. We just need to take inventory so we're taking account of what is going in. Otherwise, I hear so often that people are like, Lance, I'm eating so healthy, so this, so that, and I'm not seeing weight come off. I'm like, well, the law of thermodynamics states that if we are moving more or using more energy, aka calories, than we're consuming, we'll lose. If we're not losing, somewhere either we're not using enough energy, not burning enough, we're too sedentary, or we're eating too much energy that we cannot use. Ultimately, it still comes down to that. So you might go, no, man, I'm doing everything. Yes, but you need to know that the FDA allows food companies to actually underestimate their calories by 20 to 40%. So your restaurants and your processed foods might be undermarked for how many calories you're actually getting in. Does it suck? Yeah. But knowing this is going to help you to fight against it, all right? So with that said, just pay attention to these because they sneak up so fast. You don't have to avoid them, but if you watch my video about do I have to eat clean 100% of the time to get fat loss results, you're going to know about the 80-20 rule that I talk about. So when you have some of these foods that are outside of the 80%, the holistic part, like your fries, your alcohol, you just want to count that in the 20% part, which is for fun foods. I won't get into that on this one, but you just want to make sure that you're counting what you're taking in. If you're doing more than 20% of the 80-20 rule, you're likely not getting enough protein, not getting enough fiber, or you're malnourished on your micronutrients. So if you will stick with that 80-20 rule, again, go watch my video, I think from yesterday, the day before, you'll see that, okay? Now, the other thing that you can do is swapping soda for water or diet. I'm not one of those people that tells you to avoid diet soda. I'm one of those people that will tell you to avoid drinking diet soda all the time. Make sure that you're getting enough water, and don't drink diet soda with caffeine past 2 p.m. because it'll affect your sleep. And if your sleep is off, your deep sleep or your REM sleep, you are likely going to reduce your resting metabolic rate, meaning you will not be able to burn as much fat, all because of a couple of choices at a restaurant or during your day. That's why you don't want to be sipping on coffee all throughout the day, okay? All right, the other thing, I've already mentioned it, but I want to re-mention that again. Skip the bread basket if you don't care about it, or if you don't have the room, or if you've not built up the willpower or discipline to only have one roll, one and a half, or whatever you budgeted for, skip it, okay? Now, the main thing that I want you guys to know is that you do not have to eat strictly healthy or clean at a restaurant. But if you are on low calories or you're not sure how all of this stuff works, these are the techniques that you can do without getting in deep that are going to help you to make better decisions while you're at the restaurant, okay? This does not mean that, oh, Lance said if I go to a restaurant, it's got to be lean meats and proteins and avoid fries. No, no, no. You can absolutely do that. You just want to treat it the same way as what I instructed you on going to a pizza place. Pizza place is going to be lower calorie, higher fat. Lower calorie, lower protein, higher fat, higher carbs. Very un-macro friendly, as we call it. So if you do a protein shake on the way, you've already helped yourself to lower insulin as far as spiking, and you're also taking care of your protein, which is high in thermic effective food and all these things for you that I won't get into on this video. Okay? So if you're wanting to, like, Lance, I want to do a burger and fries tonight, man. I want a beer. Cool. The burger is going to provide you enough protein, so you're good there. Just assess, like, that's 2 buns, might be 50, maybe 60 carbs or a bun on top, bun on the bottom, and you're going to do fries. Is that a good idea? If you've got the room for it and you're not pre-diabetic and all that, go for it. But if not, remove the bun or do the bun and then do something lighter like sweet potato fries or a sweet potato or a baked potato over fried. Any of those things is going to be healthier. But I won't get into the low glycemic index, but that's another one that you can do. If you want a burger, that's going to have a bun and all this stuff, then you want to choose a carb that is more on the lower glycemic index. I'll talk about that in another video, but just kind of letting you know that's kind of how we do it, okay? All right, now the last one is the 80-20 rule, which is what I was just talking about just a second ago. 80% are going to be your lean proteins, veggies, and your low glycemic index foods. Again, I won't get in deep on this one because I've already talked about it. 20% are going to be the things that you enjoy guilt-free: dessert, alcohol, an appetizer, bread basket. This isn't cheating. It really is practicing lifestyle alignment. But more than anything, the reason this works is because you're getting your budget of, let's say, 3,000 calories, and 20% of 3,000 is going to be still 20%. Whether you have 2,500 calories, 3,500 calories, it doesn't matter. As long as you're doing 20% of those calories allotted for your fun foods, this is going to still keep you in your calorie deficit for fat loss, but it gives you that reprieve from eating only healthy food. So this keeps you from feeling deprived. It lets you stay satiated and you last doing the program even longer. This is why I stay fit regardless of not having a bunch of discipline, regardless of not eating healthy all the time. It just works so much better. Okay, I'm going to keep moving. So the point with this is how you enjoy real life and still get fit and stay fit. It is not eating 100% clean all the time. It is not working out around the clock. It's not living like a weight loss client. It's not living like a dieter. It's living more like a fitness coach, but a holistic, balanced fitness coach, not one that never eats cereal, one more like me, who I am going to have a glass of wine. I am going to have cereal. I love ice cream. I love donuts. I'm going to have those foods, but because I have no sense of moderation without a system, I use systems to keep me in check. I am kind of the visionary type person, which means that my head can be in the clouds and I'm just like, look, I don't want to focus on this crap down here. I got things to build and create. And if you're like that, you need a system so that you are not always conscious of trying to do these things. You set these systems up and they run without you. You just simply do the process, okay? So, do you want to find out more of the nutrition strategies that I teach my private clients that get results like these? And as you can see, now I primarily work with men, but over the last 20 years, I have worked with literally over 1,000 women. I have worked with hundreds upon hundreds of men. And at this route, so many, again, I'm going forward primarily with working with men, okay? So, but I want to show you, though, that this works. This is how I have done things for dang near 20 years. The first 4 or 5 years, I did not do things as flexibly, and clients would get results, but then they would sink back into their old ways because it was too rigid. The way that I do it now is so much better, okay? So you can grab my book, Food, Love, and Fat Loss, the most comprehensive guide to losing fat, not flavor, and you'll learn how to build real food freedom using the 80-20 rule, learning low GI meals, smart flexibility so you enjoy what you're doing and you don't have to think as hard. So the description below has the link for that. So go ahead and click that and you'll see it. And let's see, I think that was it. I was going to show you guys the Longhorn Steakhouse nutritional guide, but if you guys want to see it, just comment and I'll post the link below for that as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys feel like this was valuable or helpful, please hit the like button and share this with your friends, family, anybody who feel like could benefit from it. If you've not subscribed yet, consider hitting the subscribe as well. And thank you guys. I will see you on the next.